Welcome back to the second quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, along with Andrew Guitros, my sidekick. And we've got a lot of good news to, and we are taping it on Tuesday, and so we won't be able to talk about the results of the big elections that are taking place across the United States of America. And of course, right here in Acadiana, we have a hotly contested congressional race, which is not the norm. We haven't had that in a long time. But two fellow congressmen got pitted into the same district when we lost a congressman due to the size of our population in the latest reapportionment count. And they, of course, y'all all know about that. If you have a television and you watch any television, so, you know that Landry and Bustani have been at it.
Now, we don't know the results because the polls aren't closed yet. But the interesting thing would be, will our friends all know the results come Thursday, or will it still be?
Well, they'll know this result pretty comfortable. Even if there's a runoff, they'll know the.
Oh yeah, right. That race.
That race, the congressional race.
But the presidential race.
The presidential race is. It's so close. Everybody. What do you think, Bobby? I said, well, look, the professionals can't say right now for sure. They won't risk their reputation
I think it's
at the present time.
Very possible one could win the popular, one could win the electoral. I mean, it's that close that it could be.
And there's some talk about changing that electoral.
Yep, that's right.
Somebody's...
Press your button.
Oh, I got it.
Just press your button. We got it. How about if I had a sponsor while you work on that?
Well, I got it.
Or not? All right.
We'll call Dirk Boudreau at the halftime break.
That's right.
What about Hunter Hayes?
Hunter Hayes.
A young boy at either 6 to 8 years old was on national television as an up-and-comer.
If not smaller. I mean, he was a little bitty.
Very little. He's not a big person even now, grown up, but he's a heck of a handsome-looking young man. He was named the new Artist of the Year at the CMA Awards last week, Country Music Awards. Now, let me tell you, that is stepping up. He's been in Nashville now for 2, possibly 3 years, and really, it looks like he's the new artist. I guess that's for singing, but in the last few years, he's spent a lot of his time in writing of songs.
Writing and the engineering inside the recording studio where they actually mix the music and all that. I mean, he does, all he can do is all the back end, all the front end, play every instrument, sing real good, and he looks nice. So, I mean, besides that, he got nothing going for him. And he just won one of the biggest awards in country music, so his future is bright.
So to his family from Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, Mr. Leo, I know his father real well. His daddy has spent hours after hours, and a person who spent a lot of hours after hours and a lot of money assisting the family was Larry Leger.
That's correct.
Larry, in fact, Mr. Leo worked. That's how I met Mr. Leo and Hunter, for that matter, was through Larry Leger. And Larry had a big RV bus that they used to go from travel the country.
Anytime Larry had a party and he had to have music, he always got Hunter to go there to try to introduce him more people.
To more people. So anyhow, hometown boy doing good.
How about some sponsors here? Targill, spices and seasonings and butcher supply and kitchen supplies. And if you're a grocery store, they got some supplies to help you with all that as well. Right here on Wartall Avenue in downtown Opelousas, they've also got the website, targill.com. Don't forget about them if you're a baker and you need all the stuff that goes with cakes. They sell all that kind of stuff as well. If you're a professional caterer or if you're just a home cook on the weekend, go by Targill. They can help you out. And they're also having a class right now, the youth class, November the 13th. That's next Tuesday at Targill from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's all about teaching young people how to do holiday decorating for teens, 14 years old and older.
That's a
$5 for the class. Only going to allow 50 to register. So call Janie Johnson at the Chamber of Commerce, 942-2683, or our friend Yvonne Norman, 308-3474.
And in regards to the Bellard family who owns Targill and the Bellard's Poultry here in Opelousas, as well as Mama's Fried Chicken and several other businesses, the St. Landry EMS.
Correct.
A death occurred in the family, and we're speaking of Calvin Joseph Bellard. We called him Calvin. And Calvin was a mainstay at the poultry business. When you walked in,
sitting right down the right.
He greeted you, and the smile that was shown in the obituary is certainly a natural smile that he has. And a real big family. Of course, his brother AC was the one who founded the Opelousas Poultry, and then I think some of the relatives went over and formed the Eunice Poultry, if I'm not mistaken. There's the relatives that started that one. But when you walked into the store here in town, you can rest assured that he was the man that was smiling at you for years after years.
The voice of bingo at the Southern Club. When he used to do the bingo at the Southern, he was the man who would call out the numbers. How's that for?
So you remember all
that?
that
For trivia?
Yep. Our sympathies to the family.
Yep. Very good. How about Carl's Thrifty Way? If you need some medicine, go by Carl's over here in town. They can fill your prescriptions. They can do your over-the-counter type stuff as well. Gifts, decorating ideas. They'll even send somebody out to your house, give you some home decorating ideas. And they'll take the time to work with you. I know I had some questions not long ago for a prescription I had filled for the dog, if you can imagine. For the dog, I got that prescription filled there. And they sat with me and talked to me. And Mr. Carl knew about it because his daughter had had a similar illness, had taken the same medicine. So he knew a lot about all the details and filled me in on exactly what to expect. Yeah. So, I mean, go by Carl's.
This past week, must have been Thursday, Friday, maybe Friday, I was looking to get a loading ramp for the new used four-wheeler that I purchased last week. And I want to load it in the back of the dually we own. And so it took a little longer one and a little wider one. And lo and behold, you know who had it in stock?
Who's it?
St. Landry Lumber.
Ha.
Austin Perkins.
How you like that?
In the sporting goods department there. I mean, it is unbelievable, the stock, the inventory that they have there, pistols, shotguns, all your camo clothing, your barbecue, your boiling pots, your cooking.
If you're a hunter, not a hunter, all the cooking stuff's unreal.
Yeah, I mean.
And if you want to go get a nice little gun for hunting or for whatever, they got all that too, home protection.
Yeah, and it's so, just shop around. You're going to have fun just shopping in the place. Well, they had the loading ramp there, and before I could put my hands on it, young Keith Bono, who was in the store, said, "Mr. Bobby, just get out the way. Where's your truck?" I said, "It's parked right up front, right by the front door." He grabbed it, and when I got outside, it was already loaded in there. So Keith Bono, and of course, people know Keith as Bono Signs.
Right down Wyo Street.
On Wyo Street, and has been in business for a long time, does a good job, reasonable pricing, and does it quickly. And all of those, just like he grabbed that sign when put it out there in a hurry. Thanks, Keith, for another good deed you did for me. And good morning to your mama, Miss Rader. Knew Miss Rader and his father, Joe. Well, his daddy died years ago. Joe died many years ago, but Miss Rader still lives right next to the sign shop.
Very good. This weekend, don't forget, we have the Veterans Day Mass over at St. Landry Catholic Church. 10 a.m. Mass. We'll be recognizing all the veterans, and afterwards will be a little ceremony out at the Father LaFleur Monument in the front. This is the 50-year anniversary of the Vietnam War. It's a good time, all you friends that you know that are veterans from the Vietnam War, to stop and thank them, because, you know, when they came back, it was a hard time. Country was in disarray. It's a good time now to tell them thank you. It's never too late. Thank you for your service. What you got?
I've got the Jay Leno. I mentioned Jay Leno.
We can do that.
Recently, at one of the large Barry Jackson sales held in Las Vegas, Jay Leno had donated a little small Ford tractor used to cut grass, kind of like the Kubota that I have. And it's probably about a 25 horsepower tractor. Probably sold for around $20,000 to $25,000. Well, he donated it, and it was for the veterans' benefits, and it sold for $535,000.
What?
And
I mean, it was something special with the mower besides that? Or?
Well, no, just the bidding. you know, they just wanted to show Jay Leno does a lot of buying at these events.
Correct.
And so a person that knows him well is the individual who bought it. I didn't get the name of the individual at the time, but I did learn that the tractor was going to be coming to Louisiana and used to cut lawns at the man's house.
A $500,000 lawnmower cutting grass in Louisiana.
In Louisiana.
Okay.
So I somehow found out, well, watching the end, I saw a glance of a picture and a man's name, Ted McIntyre, II. And I gave it to you after the program last week. You Googled it, and we found out that he owns Marine Turbine Technologies, LLC, and that's in Franklin, Louisiana. Really, it's at the West St. Mary Port, if I'm not mistaken, right near the point. I've been to that particular place. And his connection to Jay Leno, and I'm speaking of Ted McIntyre now, is that he put one of these turbine engines on a motorcycle, a Harley Davidson.
Made a street legal motorcycle with a turbine motor,
and
like a jet engine.
I happened to see that event when they showed it on his show one night in New York City. They ran it up and down the street.
I bet it went pretty quick.
Well, it does, but it can run street legal.
Right.
So it's not just a race.
Right, sure.
It can run. But anyhow, very interesting that this man does well enough to be able to afford to bid that type of...
You think he's going to put a turbine engine on that lawnmower?
I hadn't thought about that.
That'd make another, you can auction it off to help the veterans again.
That's correct. That's correct. He says that his business is located in southern Louisiana, which I just described to you, and it covers 36,500 square feet. And I've been there. Our neighbor at the point, had a shop there. I'll get it out after a while. Anyhow, very interesting little story, and that's how money is raised. And of course, we don't raise any kind of money to that effect, but through your donations at the Santa Breakfast, which is coming up on December the 5th, that's the first Wednesday of December each year, and it's held at Indian Hills Country Club. It's a breakfast, and we do pretty good for breakfast in South Louisiana. We average at least $40,000 a year, and it's your generosity. It's the little $25 and the 50s and the hundreds, and several give several thousands. And
email me your address at that address you see on your screen right now.
We need your address.
And I will send you an invite.
That's right. We need your address so we can invite you.
Or just mail me a check. Your check has probably got your address on it. Mail me a check to P.O. Box 70, Opelousas, Louisiana, 70571, Breakfast with Santa. This weekend, November the 9th, Friday, is going to be the unveiling of the Fiddlemania Public Art Exhibit. They're doing a new one. Remember they did the fiberglass fiddles? Now they're going to do, I think it's a metal fiddle that's like a flat metal with all the artists are going to paint on it. They're going to do the grand opening of it at the St. Leonard Bank parking lot. It's going to be all around the courthouse square. It's all in memory of Hadley Castile, who just passed away, of course, the famous fiddle player from here in Louisiana. One of the artists I see listed that did some of the painting is Noah Guidros of Park Vista Elementary. Miss Julie Links, one of her students in her little class. Noah Guidros is my great-nephew, my brother Marcus's grandson.
How about that?
My godchild Aaron's little boy. So,
you know, I guess as time goes along, we're seeing more and more of the ravage.
Hey, we got to wrap. I just realized we ran out of time. We're going to have to see you folks on the other side of 1 minute.